News tonight. Information Minister extends call for support to the Nigerian Union of Journalists as media communication experts converged in Lagos. Federal government to shut down public building for not complying with persons with disability accessible standard. Experts identify barriers mitigating affordable pharmaceutical essentials in Nigeria. Good evening. You're welcome to NTA Ijebu ode News at 7. I am Titilai. Okay. Thanks for staying tuned with us. Now the news in details. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has extended a call for support to Nigerian Union of Journalists as the government prepares to unveil a groundbreaking charter on citizen code designed to define and uphold the core values that unite Nigerians. The report.
In a statement, Special Advisor to the Minister on Media, Rabiu Ibrahim, Minister stated this in Lagos at the second NUJ milestone recognition of media icons in Nigeria. The charter, the Minister reassured, would seek to entrench in all Nigerians a balanced understanding of their rights and responsibilities as citizens of the greatest black nation on earth. He hailed the leadership of the NUJ for nurturing the idea of recognizing the invaluable contributions of the pacesetters and icons of the media profession to the development of the country. The federal government image maker urged the media professionals to hold governments, politicians and leaders to account while also being committed to reporting progress and development, as well as playing their part in enlightening and sensitizing citizens to the potential and manifest greatness of Nigeria. The minister was represented on the occasion by the Director General of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Dr. Mohammed Bulama.
Media and communication researchers have met in Lagos recommending that government at all levels and the private sector must begin to fully support academic research to boost national development across the country. Mabel Fowoye has the details.
Annual general meeting of the Association of Media and Communication Researchers of Nigeria and stakeholders are gathered to brainstorm on the theme Communication, Mass Media and Governance in Africa, Trajectories, Expectations.
It is from the research that they conduct, talking to people who address the media, all right, and finding out where those lapses are, and they can then advise the media as to how they can bridge the gap between what they're doing wrong and what they're doing.
President of the association, Professor Eserune Mojaye, says, unlike developed nations who place premium on research, Nigeria and other developing nations have not taken research and its importance seriously. He says, Ankron is, however, determined to change the narrative, adding that timely research work will drive national development.
To go home with ideas of good governance. How we can get good governance in Nigeria, in Africa? How can I get good governance for the people? What are the sport expectations? And what are the realities of ground? Those are the issues we're examining.
Some members of the association say Ankron will deepen its research and make recommendations that will enable government better serve Nigerians.
It's for media researchers, media scholars to put heads together and find solutions to governance and media issues.
The media is expected to hold government accountable to the people.
The annual general meeting of the Association of Media and Communication Researchers of Nigeria thereafter moved into a technical session to address issues that will enhance the mass media and support research and development. In Mwabufongoye, NTA News.
Guided by the zeal to entrench professionalism in theory and practice, the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters, SNB, is stretching its tentacles across the country and expediting actions towards sanitizing the media business. About 53 practitioners were inducted into Lagos chapter. In his message to the event, the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Sadiku Abdulhamid Dembos, who is the chairman of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, wants media practitioners to be careful of what they broadcast, as their content have huge impact on the society. The report.
It is more than 50 years since the idea for the establishment of an umbrella body for broadcast professionals was conceived, and through doggedness and commitment, the network is expanding.
Serve the society.
These more than 53 new inductees will not just add to the number, but are expected to be change agents in an era when fake news and propaganda are becoming the norms. Breaking the chain of falsehood is the task the Director General of the NTA, who was represented, believes is achievable once understanding the ethics of the profession is placed ahead of sensationalism.
I think SMD right now is going to improve the standards and give the criteria for before you employ someone. Do not employ someone who just looks good and sounds good.
The chairman of the induction ceremony and CEO of Channels TV, John Momo, who was represented, said practitioners must live above inherent challenges in the industry and fulfill their role as guardians of truth.
Let us embrace this responsibility with dedication and integrity, knowing that through our collective efforts, we shape not only the present, but also the future of our nation.
While the society continues to welcome new members, the pioneers are hoping this will assist in creating a formidable platform to interface and present a common template for the regulation of the industry.
SMD can be an instrument for you to translate even your idea into reality. We can combine together to produce features, documentary, and a lot of programs that even make money to your purse as a member and even to the organization.
This body, the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters, we now coordinate and then sanitize the industry, and then ours is just to be the ambassadors.
It's the professionals regulating ourselves, and who better to regulate their industry than people who know how it's supposed to be. And because we know how it's supposed to be, the knowledge will be passed from generation to generation.
Earlier, a pre-induction lecture was held where practitioners were reminded of the need to preserve their position as the spoken side of the fourth estate of the realm.
The House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation has described projected revenues in the 2024 appropriation bill as insufficient to fund the budget for the next fiscal year. To this end, the committee has summoned the Minister of Finance, Governor of the Central Bank, and the heads of the government-owned enterprises to appear before the House on Monday to provide further insights into projected revenue targets. National Assembly correspondent Mitai Ikpen reports.
I believe that he will give us more.
The objective of this engagement with the Minister of Budget and National Planning is to highlight key issues in relation to the preparation, enactment, and implementation of the 2024 budget.
We've studied the budget, fantastic budget, brilliant, but we need funding from GOEs. Their declaration, honestly, for us is not enough.
The minister emphasizes that the removal of fuel subsidy and liberalization of the foreign exchange market helped the federal government to arrive at ambitious capital expenditure for the next fiscal year. But more, he says, is expected from revenue-generating agencies.
Globally, revenue that we collect as a proportion of GDP is about 10%. Mr. President has expressed the confidence, the directive that we must raise it to at least 18%. 18% is big, but it's still lower than the global average.
What we need to do to focus on is debt service to revenue, which is very high. That's why I said the discussions about revenue, we can't stop talking about them enough.
The committee turned back representatives of the CBN, Customs, and FIROS, demanding their chief executives to appear in person. Meanwhile, the House Committee on FCT Area Councils and Ancillary Matters has canvassed provision of critical infrastructure in the suburbs of the nation's capital during an interactive session with the Minister of State FCT, Maria Mahmood.
We work together towards the development and betterment of residents of the territory and also visitors alike.
The committee says it would continue to legislate on policies that will accelerate development across the FCT area councils. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikpen, NTA News.
We'll We'll be back shortly after the break. Stay tuned.
Your flight will be ready shortly, ma'am.
Thank you. Breakfast in Paris. Lunch in London. This could be you. And there's more. Hey, Mai, tell them more.
Of course. Now this is what I call a win. And this could be you too in the Globe Festival of Joy promo.
By recharging 50,000 Naira or more within a month, you could be among our 100 winners who will win business class tickets from Lagos to Paris to London. If you recharge 100,000 Naira or more in a month, you could be one of the many winners of a premium bungalow in Nigeria. The more you recharge, the more your chances to win.
How was your flight?
Delicious.
Glow Unlimited.
Yeah, welcome back. The federal government is consulting with local manufacturers of pharmaceuticals to reduce the cost of production and expand production so as to reduce the cost of drugs on Nigerians. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, gave the indication at the 2024 budget defense session by the National Assembly Joint Committee on Health. Ignatius Unko reports.
The Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, was the first minister to arrive at the National Assembly Friday morning for the 2024 budget defense session. After presenting the 2023 budget performance of the ministry, Professor Pate reels out prospects of the 2024 fiscal year. Out of the 227.1 billion proposed for the ministry, 42 billion will be channeled towards expanding cancer treatment infrastructure in all the 6 geopolitical zones, as federal government is also working to reduce cost of drugs in the country.
The price of pharmaceuticals, we know it's biting. We have met with all the CEOs of the local pharmaceutical manufacturers. Nigerians are now paying the price for that neglect of our domestic manufacturing. So in the direction of Mr. President to unlock the healthcare value chain,
there's a determination to do things differently to bring better outcomes for our health services, and the people of Nigeria are yearning for this type of difference.
The health budget for the 2024 fiscal year promises to revamp Nigeria's health infrastructure, but this can only be realized with a vibrant workforce and the presence of the Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Bako Lalong, who appeared before the Senate Committee on Labour to defend the ministry's 2024 budget of 13 billion is promising.
And our request to the committee for additional funding for some projects and the programs of the ministry that will aid our deliverables.
Registering employment generating agencies and bodies. This is a gold mine which the ministry should explore.
The committee resolves to increase the ministry's budget.
We have all the powers to tinker it and increase it in tandem with the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President.
We've all agreed this is inadequate. We've accepted that we should move for increment for this place, and we stand by that.
The minister was accompanied by Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Nkiruka Onyejocha, and heads of agencies under the ministry from the National Assembly. Ignatius Unko, NTA News.
There is need to deepen and expedite political capital and actions on existing government policies on education and close the identified barriers mitigating affordable pharmaceutical essentials in Nigeria. This was the submission of guests on Good Morning Nigeria, who insist this is critical. They also advised that the priority should be given to the production of life-saving pharmaceutical products towards sustainability and affordability. Lydia Sampson reports.
The skyrocketing prices of pharmaceutical essential products is a concern that must be tackled looking inwards. Guests in Good Morning Nigeria agreed that despite the global economic challenge, Nigeria is worse hit for lack of manufacturing and visible multiplicity of counterproductive policies and efforts.
People's dispensable income are still the same. They cannot afford basic medications. So many of them resort to other forms of unorthodox methods of healthcare. They go for prayer houses, they go to traditional healers. They know that these are not the best, but what would they do? since they don't have the money to buy the orthodox medications.
Except you're on the driver's seat on how the medicines, the consumables you're using is produced, except you exact sufficient input on how they are being produced, access to safe, quality, affordable medicines will continue to be a mirage.
Closing the gaps through deliberate innovative measures, especially exemptions, to fast-track imports and production of pharmaceutical essentials and services they believe will be game-changing.
Government will need to agree that, look, let us have prioritized development of traditional medicine so that we can begin immediately documentation of what the traditional medical practitioners are doing, their services, their products that they are rendering, and then those of us who have gone to school and we know where these things are advanced in other countries can apply science and technology to make it in a form that it is more durable and more accessible and safe for our people.
The guests harp on the need for deepening research development to authenticate efficacious traditional homegrown medicines for international recognition across the value chains. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The Ministry of Health describes as unacceptable and unsafe the use of rapid test kits to screen blood for transfusion. This was reiterated at the National Blood Donor Day celebration, where outstanding lifesavers were honored in Abuja. Salwa Khaled Ibrahim reports.
Michael is a voluntary blood donor and has donated 76 times.
Well, it's really great to be part of a solution, and in this instance, donating blood to save lives of people who are in need of blood transfusion.
I had the need for an emergency CS, so they were looking for blood everywhere. So I was told after the surgery. So after then, when I got home, I began to think how I could also contribute so that the bank could never run dry.
Every day, accidents happen. Women in labor or persons with pre-existing health condition may require blood transfusion, and voluntary blood donors, oftentimes family members, are the first port of call. These heroes keep the blood banks red and flowing, and that is why the National Blood Service Commission is honoring them.
The objectives of this year's campaign are to 1. Celebrate and thank individuals who donate blood, and to encourage those who have not yet donated blood to start donating.
The Ministry of Health and Social Welfare says safe and adequate blood is an integral part of national health care policy.
The Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare has been at the forefront to improve blood safety and availability in Nigeria.
With the likes of Michael, many lives will be saved and the world will be a better place. Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
10% Social Intervention Fund has been approved for persons with disabilities to help address many challenges confronting them in the country. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edo, reiterated federal government's commitment to shut down public buildings that do not comply with the minimum standard of accessibility or poses for the persons with the disability from January 17, 2024. Gufon Shaji Gwanye reports.
News conference is part of the 16 days activism to commemorate the 2023 International Day of Persons with Disabilities in Nigeria. The issues emanating from this meeting is that of enforcement of the 5-year ultimatum given to organizations by the federal government to make buildings accessible for persons with disabilities, as well as the approval of 10% social intervention for persons with disabilities.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is poised to give more visibility and inclusion to persons with disability in all policies and programs of government, ensuring that at least 10% of all social protection and social investment programs and interventions are allocated to persons with disability.
What the Vulnerable Fund says is that all persons with disability must be insured with the NHIS. Disability have been showing so much resilience that have been giving the world something to celebrate.
The Commission is expected to move out in full force to make sure that the provisions of the law are properly enforced.
The enforcement, which is expected to commence on the 17th of January 2024, is also in line with the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act of 2018. In Abuja, Gufan Shaj Ugwanyi, NTA News.
And that ends the news for tonight. I am Titilayo. Okay. Thanks for staying tuned. Good night.